In my first lecture on this point, I described the nature of the poor people. First, the poet built the atmosphere of seriousness in the first three stanzas. Next, the poet described the graves of the poor people, that they are not hidden, they are not decorated. The poet also opines the nature of death. Death is immortal. A dying person never returns to life. Neither the fresh air of the morning, nor the sweet song of the swallow, or any loud voice can bring back to life these dead persons. After the death of a person, nobody cares them, nobody remembers them. And the poet advises the people of ambition, the people of power and money, that they should not laugh at the simple life of the poor people, their simple joys of life, because they were neglected by the destiny, they were neglected by the fate. Again, the poet advises the people of power and money, the people of beauty, that all these lead to the grave, that all these persons are destined to death. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. The poet advises the proud people that they should not laugh at the graves of the poor people if they are not decorated, if tombs are not erected, trophies are not erected. Says it is not their fault, it is the fault of their poverty. The poet says in a beautiful lines and ask a question whether this decoration would be able to bring back life to these dead persons, or any honor would be able to give life to the dead person. The poet says that we cannot stop death by the words of flattery. And next, the poet describes that these poor people are just like the gems of the purest stream, and the purest quality. They are hidden in the darkness of the poverty. And next, the poet describes about these poor people who are buried in these graves. Some village champion that with dauntless breast, a little tyrant of his field with stood, some mute inglorious Milton here may rest, some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. Again, the poet praises the poor villagers, that in these graves of the poor people, there might be some village champion. Hamdian was a great statesman. He opposed the government's laws, and he was born in 1594. He died away in 1643. He was the man who refused to pay the ship money which Charles first demanded without the authority of the parliament. In what manner? He challenged the government. He, with open courage, by dauntless bristness, by giving a challenge to the government. And he challenged the tyrant. He was opposed the government. The great statements Hampden. Some mute, inglorious Milton. Milton was a great poet. He wrote the Paradise Lost, the great epic. He was a gifted poet. And the poet says in this grave there might be some poet like Milton. He might have been buried here. And some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. Here is a reference of Cromwell. After the death of Charles I, he transferred power after living here silently without any bloodbath. Here Gray wants to say that in these graves there might be great statesmen like Hampden who might have challenged the government. In these graves there might be a great poet like Milton who wrote the Paradise Lost. In the graves there might be a great leader just like Cromwell, who was not guilty of bloodbath in his country. He silently transferred power to the next king. The poet praises these poor people, that these poor people are not the simple people. They are gifted with the power, with the ruling power, with the creative, with the power of creation, and they were the people of courage. Again, the poet praises the poor villagers and says, the appallas of listening sinners to command, the threats of pain and ruins to despise, to scatter plenty of the smiling land and read their history in nation's eyes. The poet says these poor villagers are not the simple people, that they are not cared, they are not heeded. They were gifted with, they might have commanded the parliament. They might have sought the applauding hands of the Senate's members. They might have become the great rulers. They could speak in the parliament and they might have got the appreciation of the parliamentarians. The threats of pain and ruin to despite, to scatter plenty over his spiral land, these people might have become the great rulers and they might have become, bring peace and prosperity to the motherland. And read their history in nations' eye, their name might have been mentioned in the pages of the history, but they failed to get chance. Poverty stopped their wage. Otherwise, they might have got the appreciation in the parliament. They might have become the great rulers. They might have brought peace and prosperity to the country, and their name would be read in the history of the nation, but they failed to get chance. Again, the poet says their lot forbade, not circumstances alone, their growing virtues, but their crimes confined, forbid to wade through the slaughter to a throne and shut the gates of mercy on mankind. Grace said that two things were against them. Fate was against them, or circumstances were against them. They were not given chance. But one thing was good in their lives, their growing virtues. They were the people of virtues. The virtues were growing day by day. They were the people of good qualities. And their crimes confined, and their life was not of crime. Their life was simple and good. And they were not the people of crime. Their crimes were limited, confined. Forbid to wade through the slaughter to a throne. They never took the path of slaughter for the sake of the throne, for the sake of the power. He wants to say that these poor people never adopted the process of slaughter for the sake of the power, for the sake of the throne, and shut the gates of mercy on mankind. These people never closed the gates of mercy on mankind. They were people of good quality. They were the people of mercy. Though fate was against them, circumstances were against them, but living this condition, their virtues were growing, their crimes were limited, and then they never took the path of slaughter and murder for the sake of the power, and they were the people of mercy. They never closed, never shut the doors of mercy for the sake of mankind, for the service of the mankind. And next they say the struggling pains of consciousness to hide, to quench the blessings of ingenious shame, or heap the stain of luxury and pride with incense kindle at the muse's flame. These poor villagers never tried to hide the truth. These poor villagers never took the pain to hide the truth. They never struggled for hiding the truth. They never tried to live a life of shame, or they never burned the candles, the incense candles at the temple of Muse for the sake of luxury and pride. They want to say that these poor people were not after luxury and pride. These people were not the people of shame and dishonesty. These people were the people who never hide the truth. They were the simple people. They were the people of honesty and truth. And from again the poet describes their nature and says, far from the meddling crowds, ignoble strife, their sober visage never learned to stray along the cool sacred veil of life, and they kept the tenor of their life. There's a novel by Thomas Hardy, and the title of that novel is that Far from the Madding Crowd. In this poem, grave wants to say these poor villagers were far from the shameful act, far from the mating crowds, ignoble strife from the shameful struggles. Their desires, their wishes were very serious, simple. They never learned to speak. They never tried to go away from their simple life. They never wander here and there for the sake of life of ignoble strife. Along the cool, squatted way of life, they passed a very simple life. They passed the cool, squatted way, valley of life. They passed their life in a simple manner. They kept in noiseless tenor of their way. Their life was peaceful, noiseless, and they were the people of honesty and honor. Now the poet again describes the condition of the graves and says, yet even these bones from insult to protect some frail memorial is still erected high, nigh, with uncouth rhymes and shapeless sculptured deck implores the passing tribute of a sigh. Okay, these graves are not decorated in a fine manner, in an expensive manner, but some decoration is made just to protect them from the insult that nothing is done for their memory. Some is done, some work is done. Some weak memorial is erected near the graves of the poor people. A small memorial monument is erected for their memory. The unlettered rhymes, the rhymes are written by the unlettered, not proper rhymes are written on these graves. Okay, sculptures are there. These graves are decorated with the sculpture, but they are shapeless, not beautiful without shape. Implore the passing tribute to the sigh. If a person passes by these graves, the passerby expresses sorry. Oh, these are the graves of the poor people. In this manner, he expresses wonder and tells the situation of the poor people that these graves are not properly decorated. The rhymes are written, but they are not properly written. Weak memorials are erected, but they very weak memorials are erected. In this manner, the poet describes the graves of the poor people. What is written on these graves? People see. Their names, their hires, spelled by the unlettered muse. The place of fame and elegy supply, and many holy texts around she spews that teach the rustic moralist to die. What is written on these graves? The name of the dead person, the years of birth and death, and that is written by the uneducated poet, not proper poet, because villagers are generally uneducated. That's why some lines are also taken from the Bible. The place of fame elegy supply many holy texts. Holy text means Bible. Some lines from the Bibles are written on the monuments of these poor people. And these lines from the Bible teach a lesson to the villager, to the rustic, that one should die with a life of morality, the life of honesty, the life of truth. Next, the poet describes the nature of the dying person. What is the nature of the dying person? What we think at the time of death. For who to dumb forgetfulness a prey, the pleasing anxious being ever resigned, left the warm presence of the cheerful day, nor cast for longing, lingering look behind. It is the human nature that we do not want to die. Moreover, we do not want to become the victim of forgetfulness after death. We want, it is our hidden desire that we should be remembered even after death. Who to dumb forgetfulness a prey? Nobody wants to become the victim of forgetfulness after death. Displeasing anxious being a resigned, the dying person wants that he wants to left the charm of the cheerful day, nor cast one lingering look behind. He wants there should be some person who has desire for him, who has longing for him, who lingers for him. It is hidden human desire that he wants that after death he should be remembered. He should not become a victim of forgetfulness. Again, the poet describes the nature of the dying person, the wish of the dying person. On some fond bridge the parting soul relies, some poise drop the closing I requires, even from the tomb the voice of nature cries, even in our ashes leave their wanted fires. Greed tells a very realistic situation when we want to go from this world. It is our sincere desire that some fond bridge the parting soul light, the parting soul, the dying person want that he should be laid down on the lap of the near and dear one. He also wants some poised means tears. The closing is, I mean, the dying person want there should be some relatives near him, and they should express sorrow over his death. There should be tears in their eyes. It is also said, even from the term of the voice of the nature cry, that there are some are the wishes of the dying person. We can say there are the wishes of the dead person that he wants that he should not become the victim of the forgetfulness, and our unfulfilled desires remain hidden. And it is said, even from our ashes, our desires are there. The next stanza, for thee, who mindful of thou unhonored dead. Now the poem takes a turn and the poem becomes autobiographical. The poet is talking about himself. For thee means the poet himself, who mindful of the unhonored dead, does in this line their artless tale relate? If chance by lonely contemplation led, some kindred spirit shall inquire thy fate. So in what manner the poet describes his own death? That after his death, that the poet himself, who mindful of the unhonored dead, the poet was mindful. The poet was serious about the dead persons, about the dead villagers who were not honored, who were not respected. And the poet has described their story in these lines of this poem, in the lines of this poetry. If by chance, by lonely contemplation laid, some kindred spirit shall inquire thy fate, some passerby will try to know about the poet whose grave is there. What happens next? Happy some hoary-headed swain may say, oft we have seen him at the peep of dawn, bruising with hasty step the divvy away to meet the sun upon the upland lawn. So in what manner the shepherd, the hairy-headed shepherd will say about the nature of the poet. The old swain, the old shepherd whose hair has become white would say something about the poet. So in what manner the shepherd would say about the poet? Often we have seen him at the peep of dawn, that 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 they have used to see him at the time of the morning, at the time of the dawn, bruising with hasty, going through the fast speed, crossing the fields, step the divvy away to meet the sun upon the upland lawn, that he used to go through the fields by bruising the dews to meet the sun, to see the coming of the sun upon the upper side of the lawn. At the morning time, the villager would say, the hoary-headed shepherd would say about the nature of the poet in the morning time, that one could see that he was going with the fast speed to the upland land side. And the next, the village shepherd will say, there at the foot of the yonder nodding beech, the reach its old fantastic roots so high, his listless length at noontide would be stretched, pour upon the brooks that bubbles by. At the noontime, at the noontime, what was the nature of the poet? The shepherd would say that he used to lay down under the shade of that tree, whose roots are fantastic, Noon would be stretched and pour upon the brook that bubbles by. And he used to think by near the bubble, near the brook, and seen what the bubbles are coming and going. In the serious nature of the point, the village shepherd would say that at the noontime, the one can say that he was lying on the shade of the tree and he used to look up upon the brook in what the bubbles are coming and going. And the introduction of the village shepherd is continue about the poet, hard by wood, now smiling as in scorn. Sometimes people can see him in the forest that sometimes he was smiling as if he was in scorn, as in what had turned. Muttering his wayward fancying he would grow, now dropping woeful well like one forlorn, or crazed with care or cross in hopeless love. The village shepherd would say that sometimes you can see the poet that he was smiling in hate. Muttering was talking to his fancy, he would be talking to himself, all the time in a serious mood, as if he has forgotten something. It means something koya koya. A cross with care or cross in hopeless, as if he was careful about something or he was rejected in love. That the village shepherd would say about the nature of the poet, that he used to see that poet in this manner. Now see in the next line how the village shepherd report about the coffin of the poet. One morn I miss him on the accustomed hill, along the heath near his favourite tree. Another came nor yet beside the rill, nor upon the lawn, nor at the wood was he. One particular morning, the village shepherd found missing the poet on the particular hill where he used to sit. The poet was not found near the meadow, near his favourite tree on a particular morning. He was not found near the river where he used to lay down, see the bubbles. He was not found here anywhere. One particular morning, the poet was missing. He was not found to the places where he used to go there. Village shepherd says, in next with dirges deep in sad arrays, slow through the church way path we saw him born. Approach and read, for thou cannot read the lay. Grave on the stone beneath you age thorn. In what manner the village shepherd described the coming of the coffin of the poet. One day, he saw that the coffin was taking birth in the churchyard. There was sad song. People were dressing in sad dresses. And now the village shepherd say, okay, you can go and read what is written on the grave of the poet. They lay graved on the stone beneath on a stone, and see in what manner the grave on the grave of the poet some words are written, and the village shepherd advised the passerby, okay, himself could go and could read what was written on that grave. Now the last three stanzas, very mortal stanzas. The epitaph, the lines which are written after the death of the deceased person, and see in what manner this epitaph is written. He rests his head upon the lap of the earth, a youth to fortune and to fame unknown. Fair science found or not his humble birth, and melancholy mark him for her on. See in what manner the poet is talking about his own epitaph. That here the dead body of the poet is laid down in the lap of the earth, in the grave, lap of the earth. The poet is buried there. A youth to fortune and to fame unknown. Fate and fortune was not known to him. He was not popular. The poet wants to say that he was a person whom fate was against him, and was not popular, even he was not a man of fame. Fear science frowned not on his humble birth, and the poet advised the people of good quality should not laugh at his humble birth, at his poor birth, simple life. And the poet says that melancholy was his friend. That melancholy sadness marked him for her own, that all the time He lived a life with sadness, with melancholy. He passed a life with melancholy and unhappiness. Large was his bounty and his soul sincere. Heaven did recompensate a largely sent. He gave to misery all he had a tear. He gained from heaven, it was all he wished of friend. He was a man of sincerity. He was a man of kindness. And the God compensated him with the quality of writing poetry. And in what manner the God compensated him? He gave him misery, the life of unhappiness, the life of sorrow, all he had a tear. He wants to say that he passed a life with tears. And God compensated his life by giving a life of sorrow and unhappiness. And he said that it was friend. Unhappiness, misery was his friend. The poet wants to say that he passed a very unhappy life. The next lines are very important. No further seek his marriage to disclose or draw his frailties from their dread about. That they alike in trembling hope repose the boss of his father and his God. In what man the poet declares. Please do not try to find out the merits and demerits of the dead person, because now he has become the part and parcel of the God. No further seek his marriage to disclose or draw his frailties, many weaknesses from their deadly, from the dead person. The poet advises the one should not try to find out the frailties or weakness of the dead person because he's buried there. And it is the hope of the dying person that after death his weakness should be not discussed, because after death he has become the part and parcel of the God, the bosom of his father and his God. In that manner, Gray says that is the moral message of the poem, that one should not discuss the merits and demerits of the dead person because he has become the part and parcel of the God. See, in this manner, Gray describes the death of his friend who passed away in 1742. And this poem belongs to the landscape school of poetry. When we go through the poem, we find the dominating pastoral element in this poem. Dominating pastoral, the poet describes the country churchyard, the poet describes the shepherds, the poet describes the beauty of the evening time. All these things belongs to the pastoral life. The poem has philosophical reflections. The poem has a message to convey. The poem just like a mirror to the mankind, that one should think about the life of the poor people, poor villagers. They are neglected, they are rejected, they fail to get chance. Otherwise, they might have become the great Hampden, the great poet like Milton. They might have become the great ruler like Cromwell. There is reference of these persons, Hampden, Milton, and Cromwell. And now, I want to say that this poem is a good poem. It is the greatest poem ever written by the English great poet. It is about the nature of death. It is about the life of the poor people. It is about the autobiographical element of the poet's life. It gives a message that one should not think about the merits and demerits of the dead person, because his soul is merged with the God. He has become the part and parcel of the God. Thanks.